Hello, traveler. Welcome to the Quiet Craft. Thank you for being here. Today, where I live, we're celebrating the autumn equinox. So, I thought I'd take you on a little tour of my equinox altar, show you the harvest table for the meal my family is sharing tonight, and finish up with a peaceful evening rune and tarot pick a card reading for you. So, let's go. My altars always incorporate the elements. I have candles for fire, incense, or an herb to burn for smoke to honor the air element, a glass of distilled water, as well as a small vial of storm water, and various stones, flowers, and in this case, an acorn from the oak tree in my yard to represent earth. For the equinox, I have a black and a white candle representing the perfect balance between the two. I also have the runes of Freya's Ager, the first 8 runes in the Elder Futhark, which represent a life cycle. I also have on my altar some items which belonged to some of my ancestors and a couple of my most frequently used tarot decks. I'm just making myself some carrot, turmeric, apple cider, and then we'll go look at the harvest table. I'm sending good wishes to all of you for a joyful equinox and a really wonderful harvest season. Now, let's move on to our pick a card reading. In this Equinox reading, we're going to pull some runes and some cards to try to connect with the energy of this autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, or spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. We'll have 2 piles to choose from. Pile 1 will be this beautiful acorn. And pile 2 will be this fragrant cinnamon stick. So go ahead and use your intuition to choose the pile you're most drawn to. And of course, you can watch both. But please remember, this is a reading for the collective. So please feel free to take whatever resonates for you and leave the rest for someone else. See you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. Whoever chose this acorn with an oak leaf attached, this reading is for you. We'll start by pulling a few runes to help me zero in on the energy that I'll be connecting with in this reading. Okay. Right away I can see that this reading is about a situation where someone feels that they're in the midst of a bit of a crisis or a storm. Something is feeling a little bit unsafe or emotionally tenuous. I can see that there's potentially a question of loyalty here, and perhaps a feeling of not being able to stand up for yourself in a situation. I'm even getting a little bit of a sense of enmeshment or codependence. There's something about this situation that is blocking you from listening to your inner voice or your own higher self. There's fear for sure, but just under the surface of this situation, you know what you want and you know what is right, and you know that this isn't it. There's something external that is causing a lot of turmoil. It seems to be a pretty complex situation. So let's pull some cards to get some clarity. I'm just going to move these over so that we can still see them while we do our reading. Already the bottom of the deck is the Tower, so just gives you a little idea of the kind of energy we're dealing with right now. Very talkative cards tonight. Okay. Okay. So I can see that whoever's energy I'm connecting with right now feels stuck between their head and their heart. pretty relatable situation. We've all been in situations like that before. But there's uncertainty between, it's almost as though there's an imbalance, which is interesting because the equinox energy is all about balance. So it makes perfect sense that if there is an imbalance, this is a very auspicious time to take a look at that, and it might even be sort of jumping to the forefront, even though maybe it's been something that's been pushed down or ignored in the past, but it's no longer something that can be ignored. I can see here it's, causing sleepless nights or at the very least some anxiety. But it's this sense of wanting the best of both worlds, wanting to have it all, and you deserve that. So right now, what it feels like is a choice between one extreme or the other, and what you're really wanting and craving is balance between both. The ability to have one foot on the ground and one foot in the water. As you can see, a choice between land and sea, groundedness and emotions, head and heart. And it's really causing a lot of frustration. This could be a relationship, a love situation, could be a job, having a very stable 9-to-5 that brings in money versus having a dream of a job that's a little bit more emotionally fulfilling and a little bit less reliable, perhaps a little bit more of it feels more like a dream and less like a reality. But the star being here lets me know that there is wish fulfillment in your energy. So that tells me that what you want is not too much. What you're looking for, what you desire, it's not too much to ask for. It's very attainable, especially right now, the way the energy is now. The star is coming out very strong, and it might be the time to look for a way to incorporate the aspects that you like of both. Easier said than done, I know. So let's see if we can get some advice about how to accomplish that. Oh, okay. Sometimes the answer is so simple, it's just right in front of your nose. Yeah. Yep. So the advice here is to start smaller. You may have to take a pay cut. You may have to date casually first. You may have to go back to the basics, go back to not the very beginning, but you might have to take a little bit of a hit of what you perceive as some of your progress, whether that's your pay or investment that you've made, but it will end up leading to your wish fulfillment. So, of course, I would never tell you what to do, but it's your choice whether a slight sacrifice would be worth being able to receive that. You can see it will definitely take some strength. It takes a light touch. It takes a very nuanced approach, and it is going to take some patience. This isn't an overnight answer, an overnight fix, but it's the opportunity to go back and replant the garden a little bit more balanced, a little bit more laid out in the way that supports what you want. So perhaps the storm that we saw in the runes was an internal storm. It seems to be a little bit more like an internalized sort of conflict. It feels like very much having one thing that feels very strong, very stable, but really dreaming about something that feels a little more fulfilling emotionally. It could be the other way around, but I really strongly feel that this is what you have and this is what you want. And this path to it, it's almost like backing away from this, but not all the way. Maybe there's a way to take a little bit of space. Maybe there's a way to go part-time, for instance, in this job, or something else in that field that's a little less of a time commitment that leaves you more energy to pursue the emotionally fulfilling dream. But definitely the advice, the warning, I guess, would be not to expect instant success. This is a harvest after all, and the harvest is all about doing the work, laying the groundwork, planting the seeds, and then very carefully with a practiced, gentle hand, harvesting. So it's an energy of building delicately, carefully, making small moves. There's no extreme, dramatic, sweeping, charging in. The energy is all very calm and very slow, which serves this particular dream, even though you may feel motivated to charge into something different because of frustration, feeling like you've hit rock bottom and you can't take it anymore. This is a burnout. The advice is to approach that with a little bit more of a thought out approach and just take it one step at a time. But yeah, it's definitely attainable. What you want is attainable. If you needed that confirmation, then that's definitely here. The wish fulfillment lets me know that what you want is within your reach, especially right now. This is a really, really good time to be kind of laying laying that groundwork. This is a waxing moon, so good time to be making plans and starting slowly, very, very slowly to implement them. And just check in with yourself and see how you feel. At the full moon is a good time to check in with progress and see how it's going. And just remember that nothing that you choose has to be permanent. You don't have to go 100 and, 0 to 60. You don't have to jump in 180 degrees in another direction. You can take baby steps and assess as you go, and that will actually bring you the best harvest. So, a good harvest message. Instructions for a fruitful harvest. Excellent. Well, please let me know in the comments if you're comfortable what your story is, because I would love to hear how it's going. And thank you, Pile 1. I'll see you in the next reading. And I hope you have a really beautiful and happy equinox. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile 2. Whoever chose this cinnamon stick, this reading is for you. We'll start with pulling some runes. try to connect with the energy of this reading. So I'll pull a few runes. Well, pile 2, I can see that you're being asked to let go of something. Something that has served you in the past, but you've been feeling lately that it has perhaps served its purpose in your life. Perhaps there's been issues lately in this area, or it's possible that simply you feel that it's run its course in your life and it's time to let it go with love. I don't see a huge blowout or a fight or a violent loss or anything like that. It just seems as though you have lately been receiving wisdom from your own higher self, your own intuition, that whatever this is needs to take more of a backseat in your life right now. It could be, certainly, obviously, could be a person, but I'm getting the sense more that it might be a habit of yours or an addiction or something that, while it's not ruining your life, it feels as if you've gone too far down that path and it's time to come back to center. It could be something very disruptive in your life, though. It's possible that it's an addiction or a toxic person, or, of course, a job that served you at a different stage of your life but is now in the way of your growth. Could be any of those things. Let's get some cards. To help us get a clearer understanding. Very active deck today. Okay. Okay, I can see that this is definitely something that you have a deep emotional connection to. It means something to who you have thought you were in the past, perhaps your identity, your sense of self. Maybe it's, I don't know why I'm getting this, but it feels like it could perhaps be a group. I know that sounds strange, but it feels like it's possibly I don't know how to say it, like a club or a group of friends or some kind of an activity that you go to, or an online community. Could very well be. a team maybe. It feels like you're wanting to gain a little bit of distance from it, but your independence feels almost like a self-betrayal. It's a very complex emotion that is coming through. I'm sure whoever is resonating with this knows exactly what I mean, and I do hope you will leave a comment so I can confirm that that this is the message, because it's very strong. It's obviously a sense of loss, but it's also exciting in a way, because it feels like stepping into the next chapter of your life. It's leaving something behind that has served you really well, and it's not out of anger or not wanting that thing anymore. It simply needs to be left behind in order to move forward. And that does happen sometimes in our lives, and it can be very bittersweet. That's the best word I can describe this energy. But the transformation that comes from taking that leap and making that decision is invaluable. Let's get some more cards. Hopefully get a little more clarity, maybe some advice about how to handle this transition. Yeah, it's definitely not easy to let go, especially the world. Definitely an ending of a cycle or a closing out of something. Okay, so there's definitely some resistance here to the idea of moving forward, moving on. There's perhaps a really deep need for familiarity, stability, the safety of what is known. But the world asks us to take a look at what we've achieved, what we've accomplished, and determine a natural, graceful ending to each and every chapter of our lives. Fixating on what is being left behind is causing the pain and the heartbreak, because it's a little bit of it's like the feeling of nostalgia. Like, nostalgia is very instinctual for people. It's normal, but it's also kind of misleading. We remember things not exactly as they were, of course, but the way that they've made us feel in the meantime. Like, looking back on it is where we get the meat of our nostalgia. We fill in our memories with other things, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but we never experience anything exactly the way it was when we're experiencing it through memory. So it's important to try to keep perspective and try to focus on what you're going towards rather than what you're leaving behind, and trusting yourself that what you choose to leave behind is right for you. It's correct to walk away from the things that you're feeling distance from, or you're feeling have shifted. We're not meant to stay in one place. we're not meant to never evolve. So that instinct is very mature, and though it's very hard to move on from something that has been meaningful, yeah. Eight of Cups, walking away. Walking away. And the Three of Cups, the celebration. So this is calling you to focus on what you're going towards rather than what you're going away from, and to trust your own intuition about what you need in your life and what has served its purpose. And if something served its purpose, then this is a great time to send it on its way with love and gratitude. This is a very, very strong time to be focusing on gratitude. And I feel like that's almost never more important than when we're leaving something behind. Wow, a little bit heavy. I send you all my support and love during this transitional time. I know it's not easy, but I'm very proud of you for doing what needs to be done and putting yourself first and going towards what you know is best for you. That's really impressive, and not everyone can do that. So congratulations. And yeah, keep me posted. Please let me know in the comments if you're comfortable. I'd love to know what your story is, and I'd love to hear how it's going. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful equinox, and I'll see you in the next reading.